Welcome back to another episode of the Inkwell podcast. I am your host, Todd Rayner, and I have another fantastic writer joining me today. So let's just get him in here and go from there. Welcome, Deece. How you doing?
Hey, good Todd. How you doing, man?
We're good. We're living a dream. I mean, we get to make comics for some kind of a living. I don't know if it's necessarily full time, but it's definitely we get to make them for
You
a hobby at least.
get to make them. That's the point.
Exactly. Get to
Be
put stuff
involved
out there,
somehow.
tell the stories that people like to hear. Hopefully, it's enough that they keep coming back. Right? I know it's always a grind.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, that's life these days.
that's true. So what I like to do is just kind of start out with a few questions to get everybody out there to get to know you a little bit, what you do, things that you create, books, whatever it be, and we'll just dive right in. So what really pursued you to kind of get into the indie scene, creating indie comics?
Yeah, yeah. First of all, sorry if I there's like a weird lag on my video side, so if I feel like I feel like I'm gonna have a stroke right now because I'm like, am I like
Oh
I'm
no, okay,
moving? No, so I'm it's if you see me looking at this weird, it's just because yeah, I'm probably most likely not having the aneurysm.
no
Maybe,
worries.
who knows? It's just I mean, I've always loved comic books. It's, I mean, really my first I say first love. Writing was my first love. Always wanted to
Hmm.
write, and luckily I've was able to make that into a living in other mediums. And always wanted to do comic books, and just made some attempts at it over the years. It was just like I grew up in the 80s and 90s. It was just out of touch. Back then it was everything was in New York. I grew up in LA, so which is about as
Yeah.
far away from New York as you can imagine and still be in the same country. And just poor inner city kid. It just seemed impossible, like untenable.
Hmm.
As I got older, I started going to some conventions, but I mean, as a writer, like they don't give a shit. They don't care.
Yeah.
We have writers, if we a dynamic artist, they want to see they could
Yeah.
give two shits less about a writer. That's just the way the industry is. So,
Hmm.
and as much as I could do art, it was never going to be enough to be like a comic book artist. So that was just, cards stacked against me on that. Um, and then I tried the indie route a couple times, try to find people to do projects, and like this
Hmm.
whole, hey, well, let's partner up, and if we make any money, we'll split the money type of thing, which I'm sure you found out over the years just never works. Um,
Nope.
so eventually I've written, I mean, when I say hundreds, I mean probably thousands of scripts in my life for comic
Hmm.
books, and different ideas, whether they're my series or stuff I want to do for series that exists, IP that exists out there. But finally I kind of just I had this gap, and 'cause I do stand up comedy for a living, so that's like
Okay.
my main. That's what pays the mortgage. But I had like I had moved from Washington to Texas. I had a little gap in my calendar, from the move and wanting to spend some time at home. Kind of this house I bought, some remodeling and stuff. Um, and I'm like, okay, well, while I'm home, I had this thing I'd written recently. I'm like, I'm going to try to really, I want to do this project. So I just went and found an artist, found a letter colorist, and started, paid, like, what's this going to cost? Got the
Yeah.
figured out, and just, paid for the first one out of pocket. And then we ran a Kickstarter for it. And basically the Kickstarter just paid for that print run. And then everything else we just rolled into number two,
Yeah.
you know? So that was kind of the impetus of that.
That's pretty typical. We end up paying for the first issue strictly out of
Yeah,
pocket,
yeah,
and in hopes that our Kickstarters fund the rest of the issues.
yeah,
For as
yeah.
long as we want to go.
Well, that was kind of my, I'm like, I don't want to do a Kickstarter and hopefully make it. My goal was to like, uh, have it so as soon as the Kickstarter is done and funds, like the book's
Hmm.
basically done, I wanted the
Yeah.
book to be ready to roll out almost immediately. And we hit that. Luckily, we went over our goal quite a bit, and then, we I hit the convention circuit. In my first
Mhm.
year, I did 36 conventions.
Oh, wow.
The got into some retail shops. I think I'm probably in about 20, 20 some stores across the country now,
Mhm.
which isn't a huge number, but it is something within a
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
I've only been at this for a little over a year. So it just kind of became it was instantly we were instantly in the black and never got
Yeah.
into the red, which was nice besides the initial, investment. But that was kind of like, okay, my goal when I started is like, I just don't want to lose money on this.
Yeah.
I can't, I can't have like another vanity project, as a comedian, like content creator, I do so many things. And it's like I'm like, I can't have another thing that I'm just doing because I enjoy it. I've got too
Mhm,
many of
mhm.
those. So
Nice.
that's yeah.
Is there any formal education? I know I talk to a lot of writers, and most of us, I mean, none of us really went to school for creative writing. Is there anything? And being a stand-up comedian, I mean, is that just kind of that's an improv type of thing? But there is some scripting and thought behind it, right?
Oh, much, much more than improv. I mean,
Yeah.
a good stand-up comedian, you're probably 99% scripted, written, practiced. I mean,
Hmm.
anyone who's
Yeah.
going up there and being like, unless it's some of these comics who like, what's his name? Todd Barry years ago did like I'm gonna do a crowd work special, which is like a thing, yeah, of its own. But otherwise, all these comedians you see, these are things they've written and practiced and honed for
Hmm.
probably years.
Yeah.
It would just get good enough to make it sound like it's the first time.
So, I mean, there's no like formal education for writing comics or scripting that out.
Oh, I probably have negative education. I didn't I went to first of all, the school I did go to was LA Unified School Districts, which is essentially, like a gulag in the 1940s. It's like a holding area for people to figure out which gang they want to join. And then, if you make it through that without getting stabbed, you'll graduate to the school that's looks more like a correctional facility with barbed wire around it. I mean, I never went to
Yeah.
high school, man. Like I dropped out of school in the middle of 8th grade.
Okay.
So I mean, literally, I never even had a high school education. I was moved out of my parents' house and dropped out of school when I wasn't even 16, and just kind of on my own. So yeah, negative education, but um, School of Hard
Well,
Knocks or whatever they say.
yeah, that just means you're, a seasoned at adulting. You just have a few more years than the rest of us.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, a few more of those, probably probably a few more felonies also, those type of things.
Yeah,
But it's fine. It all worked out in the end.
yeah, yeah. What would you say is your biggest motivation to keep publishing? Like, you said you were kind of in the red with that first book, but it's what keeps you going?
Yeah, I mean, and when I say in the red, I just mean like I made the initial investment,
Right.
right? And then we luckily our Kickstarter, I think we doubled on the first one or something. We did really well. But the I just this is I've all if you asked me my whole life growing up, all I wanted to do was write. It's all I ever wanted
Hmm.
to do. Like I said, luckily I've been able to make that a career. I mean, I published books, I've worked in TV film production, in writing bits at radio stations. I fucking done stand-up comedy, obviously, is what I do for a living. I've written comedy articles, and now comic books. But I mean, if you ask me, what do you want to write? The first thing that would have come out of my mouth was comic books my entire life.
Okay.
I mean, if I was
Okay.
being honest, that's just all I ever really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I have other things I want to write, and I get to do that, but really, it's like if I had one thing, if you make me choose, gun to my head, it would have been comic books. So it really is just like I felt like just I don't have a choice, like it's
Yeah.
not if it's either if I don't keep pursuing it, it just means I've given up on life. That's really the reality of it.
That's a very interesting take. Like, you keep going because you're not a quitter, right? Mama didn't raise a quitter, kind of
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
you
Well,
know.
mama didn't raise anything, but
Well,
I
okay, well,
decided
fair.
the I don't know if you heard the dropped out of school thing, but yeah, yeah. No, I know what you're saying. I'm just giving you shit, but yeah,
Yeah, it's all good.
yeah, just you got to keep
Keep
pushing. I
going.
mean,
Yeah.
what's the point of a life if you're not doing the things you want to do? You know?
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of how I live it too. It's like I love doing this, so I'm just gonna keep doing it till I can't, right? Till I
Yeah.
either physically or mentally can't do it. Um, what would you say being a stand-up comedian? I mean, as a that's your career, you know. Never interviewed someone that does stand-up before, but what are or were kind of your influences in general for writing comics? Does that kind of bleed over those influences into the stand-up?
I don't, you know, I mean, I'm sure a little bit, but not really. I don't know if that's a
Okay.
satisfying answer at all. Like I think it's kind of like a chicken or the egg scenario because like I became a stand-up comedian because I was funny and I liked writing funny things and I liked,
Hmm.
I was gregarious and didn't have any shame. So like
Yeah.
that was it so things like that always bled into things I wrote like long before I was a stand-up comedian. I wrote things that were had funny affects to them at
Okay.
least or
Yeah.
I just it's just kind of in me. Now, having said that, most of the things I write probably aren't very funny. Um, I like to write like darker, grittier, more
Mhm, mhm,
realistic, like drag you through the mud and the shit type
mhm,
of things. Um, I'm really into like Taoism and
mhm,
Bushidoism. If you're familiar with any of that, more
yep,
Bushidoism, which is like the tenet of there's tenets of the samurai,
mhm,
essentially, and it's really very much of like you gotta fucking deal with it. You gotta live every day like it's your last. You got to go
mhm,
through the
mhm,
shit. You got to, the only way to experience life is to experience death.
mhm,
And these are really things that I applied to my life pretty firmly. So I like stories that make people really have to address really uncomfortable things. It means I'm limiting my my window of clientele, which I realize, but I feel like I'm
yeah,
also telling the stories that are honest for me, you know.
yeah, and that's important. Are any of those any of the stories that you like writing? I mean, are there any of the like writer influences behind there, or artist influences, things like that?
Um, for as far as like comic books, really, I'm probably don't get me wrong, there's a lot of creators I really love.
Yeah.
But the which I'll name a few in a second, but realistically, I probably draw more influence from film and
Mhm.
from literature. Like
Okay.
I'm a really big fan of like John Steinbeck
Mhm.
and more contemporaries like Kurt Vonnegut, Chuck Palahniuk, and as far as film, I'm like a geek for Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
So because I love his my favorite film of his is The Moon Landing. 10 out of 10. So, yeah, the I really try to apply things like that to my writing. Like I really
Okay.
try to make the comic books feel cinematic and
Yeah.
and which really luckily with Kill Stan at least it bled through because I that's one of the compliments the things people say the most about is like it feels like a movie and I'm like oh good
Yeah.
that's what I wanted so it's exactly what I was going for actually because I'm very meticulous about the shots, the way it's
Mhm.
framed, each page, the pacing.
Yeah.
Um, but so those things are really what I think I look at more as far as how I write in comic books. I certainly have like creators I really love. I don't know how much
Mhm.
they influence what I'm writing now.
Okay.
Um, if anything, maybe maybe creators like Joe Casey and early Brian Michael Bendis. Joe Casey really, I think, is like an unsung hero in comic books
Hmm.
and doesn't get enough due. I think the guy is brilliant. He really has a way of subverting the genre and like being having the most cynical, ridiculous take that also completely satirizes our current culture at the time, whatever he's
Yeah.
writing. Um, and he does it brilliantly. Like I think Wildcat, he did a run on Wildcats, which is like a crazy book to, like
To do,
this
yeah,
like stupid early 90s like schlocky image book, which I love. Even the original, it's crap, but I
yeah,
love it. But he did this run on it, and it's like, holy shit, it's brilliant. Like if you read it,
yeah,
and this was from like the early 2000s, it still applies now as far as like politics and capitalism, consumerism,
yeah,
and it's really the brilliant the way he kind of knows how to dissect our culture. And Brian Michael Bendis, I think maybe with Bendis, he more confirmed that I'm allowed to write the way I write. Like
yeah.
I had that same experience with Chuck Palahniuk after I'd never read any. Do you know who Chuck Palahniuk is? Uh,
Not familiar. I might know some of the
okay.
works, but not off the top of my head.
Most people are going to know him. He's the guy that wrote the novel that became Fight Club. So
Okay.
like he wrote the book Fight Club, and that's his most well known thing. But he has much better books in his
Yeah.
catalog. Not that Fight Club's bad. That's
I
just I think he
yeah,
was
I
much
can't
better.
imagine that that's someone's best work for anything. Like, it's a
Yeah,
good
yeah. I
movie,
mean,
it's a good story, but
he's brilliant. But I mean, I wrote my first book, actual like book back in 2010, and after I wrote it, after it came out, my a guy who read it, he goes, "You wrote it like Chuck Palahniuk. Have you ever read Chuck Palahniuk?" I'm like, "No, I've never read anything by him." And he's like, "You
yeah.
have to read him." So this guy who was a friend, was a fan of Chuck Palahniuk, so he gave me a bunch of his books, and I started reading it, and I definitely saw the parallel. And I'm like, not that I'm
Mhm.
anywhere near Chuck Palahniuk's level, but I'm like, it made me feel like, oh, like I'm not writing incorrectly. Like this is, you
Mhm.
can write like this, you can talk about these things, you can use this point of view. And I had that same experience when reading Bendis. He kind of made me feel like, oh, like you can write in this style and with this very like interpersonal, the way the
Mhm.
dialogue and the pacing. Yeah, so again, I don't know if how much of it influenced me, but it definitely like are they're creators that I love a lot.
Yeah. No,
Long
that's
answer
interesting.
to a short
Yeah.
question.
Oh, that's
Uh,
fine. As an indie creator, what do you kind of feel are some of the biggest challenges? I mean, I get answers like all over the place, but I'm just curious, like, what your thoughts are.
not enough pussy in it. Man, there is not. There should no. I'm kidding. Yeah. The you know there's a lot of it really depends. I think the biggest this is going to sound so fucking corny, but but realistically, I think first and foremost the biggest challenge is yourself. Um because
Interesting.
that's the you are going to defeat yourself 9 times out of 10 if the option, if you are presented with the opportunity. I think you can do and conquer almost anything if you really go for it. I mean, it
Hmm.
might take you longer. It might be extremely painful. It might be, I mean, there's a million things that could happen along the way, but I think the biggest obstacle is always yourself, and that applies to almost anything in life.
Yeah.
Um, but I think if you're really dedicated and really want to make it happen, that you can find a way,
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, obviously there's mechanical challenges, if you're not an artist, finding an artist, being able to pay
Hmm.
for an
Hmm.
artist, being able,
Yeah.
the cost of it is prohibitive, I mean, um just to give anyone a peek behind the curtain, I don't know with your situation, Todd, but I mean, again, I'm writing. I do the cover art, so I don't pay for
Hmm.
covers, but like, I'm about $3,500 into a book before I even send it to print, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Oh no, absolutely.
yeah, so to give people an idea of what, like, the financial aspect of it is, and then, printing books, you're probably, depending on quality and pay and,
Hmm. Hmm.
color or whatever, but, like, you're probably, probably we'll say an average of 350 a book, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And that depends on factors, but
it does. Right.
three 350 a book. So it's like that, the money is obviously not free.
Yeah.
That's probably like nuts and bolts the hardest part. Um, but and then marketing, figuring out how you market it. But that's I think it's really people just make art, and sometimes really good art, but they have no idea what to do with it afterwards.
Yeah.
And that in a lot of times, people who make art aren't the most outgoing people, you know. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
That's definitely a lot of us.
it's a challenge, and I mean, I've been to so many conventions where I'm sitting next to a guy at a table, and he's just, they're like this the whole show, and
Yeah.
they don't sell shit, and like, oh, this wasn't a great show, and I'm like, oh, I had a pretty fucking good weekend. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's you got to be it's we get into this to just create art, but then you
Yeah.
realize it's not that. You have to be you have to be a fundraiser, you have to be a content
Hmm.
creator, you have to be a carnival barker, you have to be a booking agent, you have to be a manager of, you have to be all these other uh, things along with it,
Right.
until you can pay someone to do that. So
No, it's absolutely that kind of rolls into the last question here, and we'll get into kill stand number four. But yeah, it's all about as an indie creator, we are it. Like typically, like if we're kind of steamrolling everything, we're the ones behind the curtain, we're the ones looking for artists, or we're an artist looking for a writer. Like we are looking for all the pieces to the puzzle to make a comic. I mean, there are
yeah,
a few of us that can do all of it and at a decent quality, but most of us don't do that,
yeah.
right? We kind of are more laser focused on one or two things, which kind of leads me into promoting. Like, how do you kind of manage that landscape of promoting and all that stuff to get eyes on your campaigns with the way social media can be kind of a double-edged sword, I guess, or hit or miss.
Yeah, well, so I I have a little bit of my this is so doing stand-up comedy for a living is my job is to be a professional shit talker, right?
Yeah.
And I do that aspect of it pretty well. The problem is, Meta doesn't always love that, which
Right.
means, I get I get shadow banned on Meta platforms pretty regularly.
Yeah.
Um, so what I always have to remember that, like, when I have a uh, campaign coming up, or
Mhm.
when a campaign is running, I'll be like, okay, like a month leading up to the campaign, you just got to shut the fuck up and then don't say anything to piss off the algorithm gods. And
Yeah.
then during the campaign, and then afterwards, you can fucking say whatever
Go.
crazy shit you want to say until the next
Yeah.
campaign. So, beyond that obstacle, that which is my own fault, it's just like
Yeah.
me sticking the stick in my own bicycle spike spokes. Um, it's uh it's time consuming, and a lot of people hate that aspect of it, and I get it. I fucking hate that aspect of it too.
Yeah.
I hate social media. I don't want to be on social media. I'd rather be doing a million other things.
Yeah.
But if you want your art to succeed, you're going to have to play the game a little bit. If you
Yeah.
want to just make your art, nobody sees it,
Fine.
don't. That's fine. You
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want with it. It's your thing. Yeah, that's completely fine. Um, but I'm lucky, being in comedy for so long. Self promotion and dealing with my own thing is like I'm used to that.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so, making content, putting out content, doing podcasts. I've hosted a weekly podcast for 12 years. I did radio before that.
Hmm.
I mean, it doesn't, I have no fear of that. Getting in front of people in conventions, walking into comic book shops and being like,
Hmm.
hey, this is my book. Do you guys want to sell it? Um,
Yeah.
all that stuff is part of it. Um, so, it just depends on, I mean, I think the success really just depends on how hard you want to work at making it successful. It really is kind of in your hands. No one is going to do it for you. Um, and the algorithm is working against you. They really hate independent artists and people who don't pay to
Yeah.
play. So it's tough. I get it. It's tough, but I mean, it's just how much do you love what you do, and how much do you want to? Are you willing to sacrifice to make it what you do forever?
Yeah. It's definitely a grind. There's no way around it. Every part of it is a grind,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, let's talk about Kill Stan. Um, Tell us what's going on, what it's about.
Yeah, so Kill Stan is this is number 4 of a 10-issue series.
Hmm.
It's basic elevator pitch is about it's about a guy who wants to end his own life, so he decides to do it through vigilantism.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. So it's kind of a neo-noir crime thriller on the surface, but really it's
Hmm.
like a character piece about one man's journey of loss, trauma, and the crazy things we do when we feel like we have nothing left to live for.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy. Like you said, you
Yeah.
like to write darker stuff. We'll go into a little bit into issue 3 just to kind of show fans some of the artwork and what to expect for issue 4. I mean, you got
Yeah.
reader reviews, which is great. That's always a hard thing to kind of get. I know there's a lot of people that like to review stuff, but then it's just getting them to actually do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so, um, and then yeah, here's some of the artwork. Very when you said crime noir, like on the Kickstarter landing page, there it definitely has that feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was very meticulous about the way we colored this book. The way the use of colors is important. That kind of is the
Mm-hmm.
film thing that I talked about. Like
Mm-hmm.
making that one panel blue. We use blue and reds a lot in this book as
Mm-hmm.
as filters on panels to impact things and kind of give you an idea. Um, yeah, very dark, moody, gritty
Mm-hmm.
is the idea. I did also send you a link for the trailer for the initial book. If you, I don't know if you in the chat.
Oh,
I don't know if you want to
yeah,
try to. That might be something good to play also. Uh, give people an idea of the
sure.
book.
Yeah, let's pull that up real quick. We'll switch
So
up on the fly
I
here.
didn't think about that till mid show, and
Yeah,
I.
no, no worries. Let's see here.
It might also be on the Kickstarter for number 1, if you wanna go to my
Oh,
page
yeah, yeah, yeah.
too.
We can do
That's
that. Yeah,
that might be easier for you.
yeah.
There you go. You'll see
It's
the
all
number.
good.
Yeah, that I think that's got
Number
the
one,
trailer
you're
on that
saying?
one. Yeah, I think that's got the trailer on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's see what we got here. Ah, it won't go full screen.
Ah, can you get volume on it? Is it playing?
Let's see here. Let me.
If it's a pain in the ass, don't worry about it then.
No, no worries. Let's see. I love trying to figure things out on the fly. Let's see if this. Do we got volume? Nice. I will say, well,
Oh,
go back, come back. There we go. Um, I'll edit this up a little bit in post. So if we don't have audio, I record a lot of things on
okay.
separate audio tracks. So if there wasn't, I couldn't really tell. I mean, I heard it in my
I could hear
headphones.
it, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
hopefully.
Um, I will. I'll make sure there's audio, and then I'll just kind of cut, play it. You'll see it. It'll be fine in post.
Sure. Yeah, whatever, whatever. Sorry. Yeah, I should have thought of that before the show, but yeah,
No, that's a cool trailer. I
yeah,
dig it.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that shows a lot. And you said, like you said, this was issue one, and
Yep,
looking at this, it's still very crime noir. It's got
yeah.
that really cool vibe to it. So, you know, I like dark and gritty storytelling. I don't personally, I don't like to read about real life stuff so much. I like things kind of over the top and more of an escapism. And
Sure,
you
yeah.
know, crime noir kind of is that a little bit, even though it's based in reality. It's just, it doesn't all have to be superhero stuff, but it's just, something fun to read to kind of get you away from the crazy of the real world.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I really dig this. Do you have a release date for issue 4?
We're, the I'm hoping for we're shooting for, like, start of May.
Okay.
Um, because the Kickstarter is gonna launch on March 16th, and then
Hmm.
it'll run for a month, so we
Hmm.
should have them out around the start of May. I
Nice.
try to plan the workflow to where the Kickstarters are ending around the time the book is finished,
Okay.
so we can go right to print with them. That's kind of
Hmm.
it doesn't always work. It's not a perfect science, but generally that's the idea.
Okay. And you also have like other titles, like you mentioned. You write a lot of stuff. Um, here's on your website. Folks can kind of order, catch up on any of the issues or other stuff, right? Obviously.
Yeah, this only has Kill Stan on it right now. We're
Okay.
probably going to add some stuff to it at some point, but right now this is just the issues of Kill Stan. We got multiple covers up there.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
Nice. And then obviously they can catch up with you on social media, things like that. And you do all these are all your artwork for the covers, right? Most of them?
The most of them, the number three, the variant cover, and obviously the sketch variant. That is a local San Antonio, Texas artist
Hmm.
who did that, and he's just a guy I know from the comic shop, and he's a
Hmm.
tattoo artist. He's like, "Hey, man," he goes, "I'd love to do a cover for you." He goes,
Nice.
I'll put together some ideas for you." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And he shows me this. I'm like, "Well, fucking yeah, dude. This is great."
Absolutely.
So he's going to do another cover for a future issue, and then the variant for number one. Also, someone else did that cover,
Okay.
um,
Okay.
but the rest of the covers are mine. I
Yeah.
do
Nice.
most of the covers. So
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to try to have multiple hats making comics.
yeah, yeah, I mean, like I said, I love to do art. I do okay. I just know I'm not proficient enough or fast enough to do the inside. So my
Hmm.
goal is I'm like, "Ah, I'm gonna at least do the cover art on this stuff."
Yeah,
I was in like that thing you see there for number four. I did that. Um, so that'll be the cover for number four, that image.
that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I dig it. I really like as far as art goes. I like single colors, just very
Mm,
contrasty,
mhm.
whatever it is. Like something like this, where it's just you're focused on the shadows and then the contrast of the figure with the color. I like that kind of art, but I know it's maybe not everyone's taste, but I like
Yeah,
a
well,
lot of different.
all the covers are, if you look at the covers we do, all the main covers are that red and black
Hmm.
imaging. That's so we're going to do the main covers are all going to be like that. I want them to be consistent, and I want them to
Hmm.
be like a striking image, not look like interior comic book art. And
Right.
I really want them to set the tone and the vibe of like what this book is.
Yeah. No, it definitely sends a message. It sends like a creative message for sure. Absolutely.
Good, I'm glad it's working.
Yeah. That's awesome. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would have, tell people get out there, back the book when it launches. And are you going to do late pledges or anything like that?
Yeah, we usually leave the late pledges open until the next book launches, honestly. And partly not always intentionally, partly just because I forget to turn them off. Um, but but they're usually open. But also, you can just go to the Kickstarter or go to the website and order directly from us too. So,
Okay.
which we do, we is kind of we're trying. We slowly since number two I've slowly been trickling people away from the Kickstarter and moving them, like promoting as like, hey, pre-order from the website.
Okay.
You can do Kickstarter, but if you want to, just pre-order directly from us. Because I'd
Yeah.
rather have all the traffic come through us and Kickstarter not getting their beak wet on 13%.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so and we'll always run a Kickstarter because we do get organic traffic on there, which
Yeah.
so it's like I might as well put it up there. It's like, you're going to get some money. It's fine. Um, but I always encourage people to just pre-order from us. It's better that way. So
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's Kickstarter is again, it's another thing. It's bittersweet. It's great because you can get organic traffic, you can get some organic growth, and then but it is migrating everybody over to a website to say, hey, yeah, I don't
right,
worry about fees so much. And as an indie creator, like we talked about cost of things. That's just one more cost that we kind of eat for percentages of whether it
right,
be through
right.
payment systems, through Kickstarter, crowdfunding, whatever. And I think a lot of people kind of forget about that.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
fees add up.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I sell my books cheaper on my website than I do on
Okay.
Kickstarter. So,
Yeah.
if you pre-order, you're going to price save. And if you're just buying like number four, you're going to probably save $5. If you're buying all
Right.
four, you're probably going to save like $25. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
it makes a difference. Like whatever you want to do, guys. But if it's just buy the book. That's all I care
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care how you do it. Just buy
about.
it. Just support us. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun chatting with you. Hearing about your story, where you came from, what you've done, what you're doing, what you're going to do. Looking at some of the art, like that book looks really cool. I have to check it out when it launches, just because I like that kind of style. So
Yeah.
again, people get out there. Obviously, you're on social media. Sign up. Get that follower up because that again, algorithms matter in today's world.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely, guys. I mean, yeah, can I plug a few things real quick?
absolutely, please.
Okay, so yeah, the listeners, please hit the pre-launch page for Kill Stand number four. You don't have to buy anything once it comes out if you don't want to, but at least hit notify me of launch. The like Todd said, the higher we have followers, the higher we go on the algorithm, the faster we fund, the more people see us. So that helps a lot, even if you can't afford the book. The following is free. So that makes a big difference. You can pre-order on our website, order back issues on our website. We'll ship out directly. If you have any questions, you can email us on the website or you can reach us at inferno.earth on Instagram. That's the easiest way to reach us. That is me fielding those. So if you DM me or anything, I will respond to you. Probably same day, I assume, depending on what's happening
Yeah,
in my life. But usually I'm pretty quick with it. The also what else a shameless plug, some comedy stuff. I host a
yeah,
weekly podcast called The Social Hour. New episodes every Wednesday. We talk to all sorts of different people. We do some comic book stuff on there, but we talked I try to keep that sparse. I don't want it to be just a comic book show. But I mean, I've talked to everyone from the creator of Ninja Turtles to presidential candidates. So we really it's a wide breadth of people we talk to, and it's a fun show. I've been doing it for 12 years now. So come check that out.
nice.
Deececomedy.com is the website, Deece.comedy on Instagram. Live dates probably somewhere near you soon. And if you want to buy my comedy special, Not Your Cup of Tea, there is a link on my website called Not Your Cup of Tea. We're doing a deal right now where if you click the link, You can donate whatever you want, and we will send you the full 1 hour 4K video special download for you to watch and enjoy forever. Most people pay like $5, $10. You can even pay $1. It's a dick move, but you'll still get it. Uh, and yeah, yeah, that's it. So
Yeah, well, no, that's good. Definitely check that out. And I will we'll wrap up this episode. It's been a pleasure. Anytime you got things going on, always feel free to always reach out. Happy to have you on anytime. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Thanks.
thanks, guys.